Have you ever watched a series where you feel like if it does something unique, this could really knock it out of the park? Like this could be a really unique experience, but at some point you just have to just tell yourself, look, it's probably going to be the bog standard. It's probably not going to do anything special. It's probably going to be a copy paste of a lot of other stuff. That's sort of where I'm getting to right now with From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman, a series that is airing in the spring 2025 anime season. A series that has the potential of doing something special, but I think it's just going to probably fall into the realms of the typical guy that doesn't realize how OP he is, and everybody's trying to tell him, no, dude, look, you're really OP. It's kind of that whole thing. Yes, the Paul Isekai series, a series where Paul Greyrat from Mushoku Tensei transferred to another world where he just trains kids all day long until he gets old, and then at some point, all of his old students that he trained in the past come up out of nowhere and want to be a part of his harem. That show. So far, I've watched the first 2 episodes of the series, and it's solid. It's a solid series. It's just a nice kind of sit back and relax and watch this old fart just be surrounded by a bunch of people that just recognize that there's something special about him. I think that's kind of the nice thing that it's done so far. It's the idea of the old wise man sort of getting the recognition he deserves. But I also feel like there's the other side of me that feels that it could get too muddied by the harem element. Like sometimes I feel like the harem element almost is a detriment to what they're doing here. The idea of giving that recognition to somebody that honestly deserves it. This guy is skilled. He is a good man, but at the same time, stop throwing the harem in the face. It's wish fulfillment. There's a lot of people that are going to want this element here. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I almost feel like it has the potential of doing something really cool, but then it's falling back to the usual status quo. But anyhow, let's get into my first impressions of the series. From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman opens up with a Beryl Gardinant. I think that's how you say his name. And yes, he is running a dojo in the middle of nowhere, just out in the country. He has a dojo that he took over from his father, and his father is just constantly nagging him that he needs to finally go find a wife. Give me some grandchildren already. But no, he's too caught up in doing his dojo stuff. He's just constantly training all these students. He's actually made the dojo really take off. They have a lot of people coming there in order to train under him. He's doing a good job, but at the same time, again, he's not finding anybody. And as he puts it, yes, love has no place in the dojo, and that's where he pretty much is at all the time. Even his dad's like, I mean, one of your students, your students love you, find one of your students. He's like, no, there's no place for that. Well, at some point, Alucia Citrus shows up, which is one of his former students, and she's now the commander of the Order of Knights. And she has showed up with this royal order. She has a royal order that he is supposed to come to the capital and be a special instructor to the order. And yes, with most orders, you have to follow it. A royal order, you have to answer it. He's even saying that if you don't answer it, you're going to die. He's like, no, that is probably not going to be that severe, but you will be punished. But yes, he agrees to the order, goes there, ends up meeting all the students that she is kind of commanding over. And yes, very quickly, a lot of people question, is this guy that special? Alicia never shuts up about him. Is he really that special? And so yes, one of the vice commanders decides to challenge him and quickly gets his butt kicked. And so now everybody acknowledges, whoa, this guy, this instructor, he took down their best guy. Nobody beats the vice commander. Well, his skill even wins over the vice commander as well. The guy's like, dude, please show me how you did that. It was incredible. And again, because Beryl doesn't really believe that he's that special, he's like, no, I just kind of went with the momentum of your attack, and I overcame it. What follows this is that Beryl starts to train all the different members of the order, training them in different skill. Every single time he opens his mouth, everybody turns and listens. That's how much his instructions is kind of wanted. Everybody wants to learn how to be as skilled as he is. And over time, as he's in the city, eventually he finds out that his father decided to take one of his former students and have him take over the dojo so that Beryl can essentially work full-time being the instructor at this order. While he's in the capital, he keeps meeting other students that he actually trained in the past. There's Serena, who he found and kind of nursed back to health and trained her in the sword. She become an adventurer. You have Fise, who become like the star member of the Order of the Mages, Kurani, and so on and so forth. There's a bunch of different students that he all trained in the past that all look up to him as being incredibly talented and where they're currently at in their lives. A lot of the second episode focuses on Alucia, who again is the one that brought the order for him to come to become one of the special instructors. Again, she is the commander of the order. And we get a glimpse of when she first was instructed by Beryl and how she really looked up to him and how talented he was and how different he was to any other instructor. There's an emphasis here that what he's teaching, despite the fact that he thinks it's not that special, it's training that really overcomes any other dojo. Now, because she looked up to him so much, she actually sacrificed her entire future as a swordsman because, as she puts it, if you want to master the sword, don't become a commander because it just takes up too much of your time. You're too busy instructing people, you're too busy doing paperwork, you're doing meetings and whatnot. But she chose to become a commander because her whole point was to rise up in the ranks and bring him forth and give him a stage that he can actually show his talents. This guy's incredibly talented and he's stuck in the middle of nowhere. He's in the boonies. I want to bring him in here. So she's basically sacrificing her future as a swordsman in order to bring him up and prop him up. But yeah, that's basically the gist of the series so far. Mixed within there is a lot of shenanigans around, yes, everybody really adoring Beryl, all trying to get his attention, take him out on dates, showing him around the city, finding him a place to stay, all that kind of stuff. And yes, mostly Alicia trying to get into his pants. Let's be honest, they're all trying to. So my thoughts on this series so far, it's pretty solid. I think the thing that I appreciate about the show the most is Beryl. I think he's a solid character. I think my biggest concern that I have for the series overall is really the hook of the show, which is the fact that this guy is incredibly talented. He's incredibly skilled. Everybody knows he's super strong and super talented. He can overcome really any other technique and whatnot. He's really quick on his feet. He reacts to all attacks. He doesn't really leave openings open. He's really good at counterattacks. This is something that everybody acknowledges. The moment somebody sees him in action, they immediately realize that this guy is incredibly talented. But the question is why doesn't he acknowledge it? That's the big question mark. And I'm kind of wondering if it'll actually get into something interesting. What makes him so talented? They haven't really put it into words and solidified exactly what makes him so special. And again, why doesn't he acknowledge it? That's the biggest frustration that this will start building up. And this is a problem that I really have with pretty much all these types of shows. At some point, it gets fatiguing. And you start to wonder, why is this guy so dense as to what he is? Why can't he pick it up? I mean, here recently we have I parry everything. At some point, the character has to realize, oh, wait, I am really special. There is a reason why everybody looks up to me. His whole thing is that he doesn't feel like he's done much for these people. Yes, back here when he's back in his hometown, he had this dojo and he taught the basics. And at some point, once they got the basic and they overcome him, he gives them their sword and says, you're good, there's nothing else I can teach you. With Alicia, with her whole backstory, she realized at some point, no, this isn't it. You haven't taught me everything. You're so special. There's something else you can teach me. And so when she goes off to leave, she's like, I need to bring him forth, bring him to everybody else. And then when they're traveling together to go to the capital, he's thinking to himself, she still looks up to me. And it's kind of sad. She became something special and left me back there. I only gave her the basics. There's got to be a reason why she's special, and it's her own talents. And that happens with everybody. As they go to each one of the characters, they all go, he's super special. And he goes, no, that's not right. You did it with your own strength. You became what you are. So what I think it's going to come down to, and what it could end up being, is the fundamentals. The idea that you gave them the groundwork. He gave them the perfect foundation, and they built off of that. And I think it's going to be in that foundation that there's going to be something special. I don't know that they will, though. If they're going this long and they really haven't got into it, I don't think they're going to do it. It's always going to come down to somebody says he's incredible. He says, no, I taught you the basics, and then you became special. It seems as if that's what they're doing with every single one of the characters so far, so I don't really expect much out of it. So that's where I have my frustrations, and that's kind of the core of my problems I have with the show. On the opposite end, I think this show is a nice laid-back show. I do appreciate it. It has a nice subtle feeling to it. It's not too much. It's not too bombastic. It really does have kind of a slow life feel to it, while every now and then having these action scenes, which gets me into sort of where I think I struggle a lot with the show is I do feel the show is extremely wholesome. I do love the element of this guy that has spent his whole life devoted to teaching other people, helping them get stronger, and yes, saving lives as well. Again, with Serena, he found her abandoned in a creek, brought her home, nursed her back to health, taught her how to defend herself. She became strong and became an adventurer. Alicia is the same way. Their family moved out into the sticks. They're in an area where the order is not protecting people, and they wanted to teach her how to defend herself, so he taught her how to defend herself, and she became strong. With each one of these girls, he teaches them how to get stronger, gives them those fundamentals, and then they move on with their lives and become something special. Every single one of them becoming something special. And now he's sort of getting the appreciation for what he did. He's finally being put onto the stage like Alicia wanted to do, putting him on the stage and saying, look, You deserve this. You are incredibly talented. Look what you did for us. You are special. He's getting that acceptance and that praise that he deserves. He's a good guy. But the problem is that mixed within that is sort of getting muddied for once. I do love my harem shows. I love a lot of cute characters, but I do feel like every now and then when you have Lucia's just constantly thirsty, trying to get him in bed or something, or trying to get him to move in with her, trying to get his attention, there is an element here where it's like, you're sort of muddying it. It's as much as I love these elements, I don't think it really fits here. It's almost like you're doing this that feels very unique, but every now and then you're going, no, we're going to do the harem thing, and it kind of ruins it a little bit. Again, I appreciate these two elements, but I almost feel like it doesn't fit together. It almost feels like it's sort of going, nope, never mind, we're still a harem show. Nope, we're still kind of doing this stuff. So I don't know. I'm not sure if a lot of people would agree with me there, but I feel like this show could stand on its own, just having it be about his story and his talents and everybody recognizing his talents. That all said, though, I do like the characters so far. Lucio was a bit too much at first. At first, I thought that she was a little bit too one-dimensional. And I think, again, that goes that element of the harem element sort of making her character feel a little bit too dumb. That's the best way I can put it. Feel a little bit too dumb. That her obsession is her entire driving force for her life. Like, because he trained with the sword here, I spent my entire life sole purpose for him to prop him on the stage. I sacrificed everything, became the Order's commander, all for this guy. And it feels a little bit too one-dimensional, but it feels like she's a little bit too shallow to even care about. Serena, we haven't gotten too much for. She seems like a very Edis character, very fiery type of character. Kotani's the same way. It seems like we're going to be getting into Fise here in a minute, which is the mage girl, and the fact that she essentially didn't sacrifice her sword, and the idea that she became a mage, which was kind of cool, by the way. The idea that he felt that she essentially gave up the sword. Oh, so what I taught her didn't end up helping her, but in fact what she did is just she became a mage so she can basically become a spellblade. So it's kind of a cool way that she took it and sort of did her own thing with it, augmenting her blade with magic. So far the characters have been okay. They're cute. I love the designs. They have great personality. It's just I'm waiting to actually get into them, more about them besides just they're obsessed with Beryl. Again, that's that harem element that kind of brings it down a little bit. Visually, yeah, I like it. I really like the style of it. I like the character designs. I will admit, every now and then it looks a little blah. It doesn't always look great. Like, it's one of those kind of scales where it's like, okay, this is a solid like 7 or 8, and then every now and then it dips down to 4. Like, okay, what was that shot? Okay, we're moving on. Okay, the CGI looks okay, because yes, some of the actual fight sequences are done in CGI. Yeah, some of the fight sequences, okay, you're all right, you're all right. It's just kind of this thing where it's kind of constantly bouncing around, but it's a good style. I do like the designs. I like the visual perspective shots and everything. It's pretty solid. But yeah, I think that's pretty much my thoughts so far on the first 2 episodes of From Old Country Bumpkin to Master Swordsman. It has a lot of potential, but like I said earlier, I'm afraid that it's just going to go for the bog standard guy doesn't realize he's OP and insert harem. I really do feel like it has the ability to do something really great, do something unique, but every now and then whenever I think it's going to get there, the harem stuff pops up, or he's not realizing how OP he is pops up, and it goes, never mind, we're not going to do anything special. But we'll see. But yeah, anyhow, I hope you guys enjoyed my video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below, comment. Let me know what you think of the series so far if you're going to be checking it out. Additionally, if you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button so you got my content. I do news, reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. I'll be doing first impressions of all the shows this season, so definitely stick around. And if you like this content and you want to support channel more, I have links in the description below. Greatly appreciate it. Until next time, y'all take care.